Okay, there was issue some recording software, so I am continuing the code from previous uh, video. I'm creating a new class person uh, person and let us create a member here like public, and I'm creating a name member of string type. We have to use the std namespace, and I click on save. Now we have created a very simple class named as person. What we will do, we will inherit another class from this class. How we will do this? But before that, let us make it private, and we will define an empty constructor. In this we will set name to blank and another parameterized constructor, and this we will simply assign the parameter to name, a variable member. Then we will create getter and setter functions for the name. Get name, simply it will return the name, and then set name, it will simply receive a string variable and will assign to n. In fact, we can use this function here so that we do not have to repeat the code. Okay, this we have created a class. Let us try to test the project again. Okay, it's working. There is no compilation error. Let us create an object here of person class, person, and its name. It had two constructors, so I am passing like a, b, c, and now here I will simply print the name using the getName function. And now let us try the project again. There is some error because we did not included the header file of person.h. Now let us try to run this again, and it's working. Now we will create a new class in the same header file as person class exists. We will move to the downward in the file and create a new class like student, and we want to inherit this from the person class, simple, and define the body. When we will inherit this student class from the person class, it will get all the public and protected members in this class. We can also define our more members, like I have defined ID, let us rewrite this code because of indentation. Okay, int ID, this is our private member, and now we will write a constructor like student, and in this empty constructor we will simply set the id is equal to 0, and the constructor of its parent class right from here in the child class constructor. Simply call it person. So let us try to run the project. Is it working or not? So it's working, no issues. And now what we will do, we will create a student object instead of person object. And so far we only have defined the empty constructor. Let us write a parameterized constructor by supplying two parameters like this, and we will assign the ID member, and then we will call the parent class constructor with one parameter, and it will simply assign the value of n to the members. Now let us try the project again. So there is some issues. Okay, instead of calling the parent class constructor, we will simply, what we will do, we will call the set name function of the parent class, and it will do the same trick for us. Simply it will set name. As far as the process of calling the parent class constructor from the child class constructor, we will discuss this later in this video. Okay, now try to run the project again. Now there are some issues again. Actually, issue is that due to the type of inheritance, inheritance is actually of three types, known as public inheritance, protected inheritance, and private inheritance. By default, when you apply inheritance, the compiler automatically applies the private inheritance. However, you can make it public or protected, but if you do not write any keyword, then it simply, what does it do? It simply forms private inheritance. We will check this type of inheritance in the later videos, but for now we will simply create a function. Instead of calling the getName function from the child class, we will write another function here like print. Actually, the issue is that this getName function belongs to the person class. GetName function belongs to the person class, and it is a public function, and it can be accessed by its child classes and outside the class. But when it goes to the student class as an inherited member, it becomes a private member of this student, because by default the inheritance is performed on private. So when we call this getName function outside the class, it gives error that it is not accessible. So for the moment we will simply write a function, print function, and we will simply call print the ID and name, write ID and name, and we will call getName function. We can access this function here easily because this is a child of person class. Now we have created a print function, and we will call this print function from here. Simply write s and dot print. Now this function, print function, is a public function of the student class. You can see this is a public function, It is further calling the getName function, which is the public function of person class, and we can directly use this function. Now try to run the project. And you can see that our output is good.